Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Krishna Sundar A, Assistant Professor from PG and Research Department of English, KAHM Unity Women's College, Mancheri. Today, we are going to discuss the chapter The Meditations on First Philosophy, which is a part of AEC Science text from Semester 2, meant for FYUGP students from Calicut University. So to start with, who was Rene Descartes? Now, Rene Descartes was a French philosopher, mathematician, and scientist. And in French, you pronounce the name as Rene Descartes. Now, Descartes' works fundamentally reshaped Western intellectual tradition, which means Western philosophy. And Descartes was deeply satisfied with the existing system of philosophy during his time. Because Descartes basically believed that doubt leads us towards knowledge. Because he said that doubting is a very natural thing for a human being. We all doubt things. And when doubt comes, we start using reason. And from this reason, we can rebuild knowledge. So this is a process that he believed in. If you are a human being, you will have doubts. From doubts, we use reason. And from reason, we lead ourselves towards knowledge. Now, some of the important facts related with Descartes. He was born on 31st March 1596 at France, died on 11th February 1650 from Sweden. He is known as the father of modern philosophy. He has given some important contributions to mathematics, optics, and metaphysics, and he's also the inventor of the Cartesian coordinate system. So before we get into the chapter, there is a basic ideology that you have to understand. Now, this was the main ideology put forward by Descartes. I think, therefore I am. Now, this is one important slogan that Descartes has given us. I think, therefore I am, which actually means he is using the method of doubt. And doubt comes only when you start thinking. Now, when you start thinking, you are telling everybody that you exist as a human being. So, existence is equal to thinking. Thinking is equal to existence. Now, this is a basic fundamental ideology that you have to keep in mind when we start with this chapter. So, Descartes actually believed in the method of doubt because human beings should doubt. Only then we lead ourselves towards the fundamental truth. So this ideology remains as the foundation for all the knowledge system that he has footed till now. So moving on to Meditations on First Philosophy. This was published in Latin in 1641, and this is considered as a masterwork in metaphysics. Now, metaphysics in the sense, it means something beyond. Meta means beyond. And it is structured as 6 separate meditations. Now, this is considered as an extraordinary philosophical journey. Now, please understand, we are not studying meditations on first philosophy, but we are studying about the preface written for these meditations on first philosophy. That is what is prescribed for your university exams. Now, he also adds that from total doubt, we actually reconstruct knowledge. And he also talks about God, mind, external world, etc. So he actually discusses doubt and the evil demon, because there is doubt in every one of us, and this is quite natural. Then comes the next part where the truth is discovered. I think, therefore I am. I exist because I'm thinking. He's also discussing the existence of God and the distinction between mind and body within the preface. Now, why did he write this preface? Now, preface means it is actually an introduction, a small introductory part which comes before the real lesson begins. Now, there is a particular purpose and context why he wrote this preface. Descartes addresses his readers directly in a very carefully constructed introduction. Now, this is far more than a formal courtesy. It is a strategic and sophisticated document designed to set expectations and define the terms for the readers. So, why is he writing this preface? He is writing the preface because he is actually telling the readers what is coming forth in the real chapter. More than that, he is also telling the readers to be prepared for what comes next. So, what exactly is the preface about? It includes the core objectives. It is in fact a response to criticisms of his earlier works. Many of his works were actually criticized, and he is actually making the readers understand his plans or how he works out certain philosophical equations in the chapter. It is also giving us a definition of the intended reader and required disposition. He also says that this is serious reading, it is meant for serious readers, and you need to understand it slowly and steadily. Now, what the preface is not, it is not a casual decorative introduction. It is not a summary of conclusions. It is not asking you to side with religion, authority, or scripture. I'm using the third point here because within this preface, he talks about the existence of God. But at the same time, this preface is not asking you to connect with religion, authority, or scripture. And this is not an invitation to passive or superficial reading. As I mentioned before, Descartes says that this chapter is only meant for serious readers. Now, what is he discussing within this preface? Now, there are two central objectives that he is discussing in this preface, in this meditation of first philosophy. The first and foremost segment is the existence of God, and the second important element is the distinction, the difference between mind and body. Now, what does Descartes say about the existence of God? Now, in short, Descartes believes in God, or he believes in the existence of God, and he says he was doubtful initially. And as he has mentioned, there is a method. From his doubt, he started thinking, he started using reason, and finally he comes to a conclusion believing in the existence of God. He says that the existence of God is not merely a matter of faith or theological tradition. It is a question of philosophy and reason, because by using reason, he has found out the existence of God. Now, how did he find this out? Now, he's putting forth that argument here. He says that God is considered as a perfect being, whereas a human being is considered as an imperfect being. And now he says if an imperfect human being can think of an idea of God, definitely that idea would have been planted or placed in the mind of a human being by a superior authority, and that superior authority definitely will be God. So there is something that is above human beings. Otherwise, human beings cannot even think about something like God, a perfect entity. So if human beings can actually think about that idea, that itself is a claim that there is somebody superior to us and there is the existence of God. Now, this is the central theory that he comes up with. The next important segment is the difference between mind and body. He says that the human soul is actually the thinking self, whereas the body is a non-thinking substance. Now, this distinction has profound implications for the immortality of the soul. So that is why we keep saying a soul is immortal, whereas body is mortal. Moving on to the next part, he is anticipating objections. A substantial portion of the preface is devoted to addressing criticisms that had already emerged in response to his earlier writings, particularly in the Discourse on Method in 1637. Descartes demonstrates remarkable intellectual honesty by confronting these objections head on before his main argument even begins. Now, this is exactly the reason why he writes a preface and then convinces his readers before the readers start with the chapter. So, the soul and thinking happens here, and the skepticism related with atheists. Now, he says that there are atheists who do not believe in the existence of God. And again, he says that even for an atheist to believe that there is no God, even saying there is no God, you are initially suggesting a claim that there is God. Because when you say there is no God, you realize that there is an entity called God, and that is why you are denying it. So, this is what he says: human mind is finite, whereas God is infinite. And if an imperfect human mind can actually think about an idea like God, that should be something that has been planted in the mind of human mind by God. Now, from the reader, Descartes is expecting a certain standard. Now, this is what he says: I would not urge anyone to read this book except those who are able and willing to meditate with me in earnest, to withdraw their minds from the sense and to distrust all preconceived opinions. Because he says, if you have a set notion in your mind, and then if you come and read this preface, you will not be accepting this. So come with an open heart. This is what he says. Now he says the readers should meditate in earnest, they should detach from the senses, and finally you have to read this with an open mind. Now, Descartes' lasting influence. The ideas did not remain confined to 17th century. They set the agenda for modern philosophy, and they even continue to shape debates in epistemology, philosophy of mind, and the relationship between science and religion. So, Descartes' ideologies still persist in epistemology, mathematics, science, philosophy, rational theology, etc. So, what are the key takeaways from this chapter? Now, initially, understand that Descartes was a person who came up with the ideology I think, therefore I am. I think, I am thinking, and that itself will mark my existence. And this is quite natural for human beings. When human beings think, they start doubting, and finally, using reason, they can rebuild knowledge. So, doubt is used as a method and not as a destination. So, using this doubt as a method, he is actually bringing the reason why we think about logical explanations to get into the answer. The second thing, the preface is part of the argument. Though it looks like an introductory part, it actually convinces and conveys a lot of things about his chapter to the readers. Now, there are two important demonstrations that he is actually making with one foundational argument, which are the two important segments that he is discussing in the preface. One is about the existence of God, and the other one is about the difference between mind and body. And finally, he says active readership is required because he is demanding that the reader think alongside him, question their assumptions, and resist the pull of sensory prejudice. Because that's why he says you have to come with an open mind to read this and understand this. So basically, the two important elements discussed here, one is the existence of God, and Descartes believes in the existence of God. Second thing, the difference between mind and body. Mind is a thinking entity, whereas body is a non-thinking entity. So with this, we come to the end of this chapter. So thank you very much for your patient listening. The notes are uploaded. You can check the description where you can find a link where the notes are uploaded. In case if you have got any questions, suggestions or queries, please do connect with me in my email ID. So thank you very much for your patient listening. Thank you once again. Thank you.